At 18 my stepbrother had me committed. Cure yourself of loving anyone else, he whispered, and I'll bring you home. 8 years later, I was his perfect monster, his devoted wife. Then his long-lost sister appeared at our door, and he sent me a single text, don't touch her. So I smiled, slid a knife between her ribs, and replied, forgot. Darling, I'm your only sister. And your only love. At 18, my stepbrother, Damien, had me committed. He wiped my tears away with a gentle thumb, but his voice was glacial. Cure this sick habit of loving anyone else, he murmured, his breath ghosting over my ear. Admit you only love me, and I'll bring you home. Over the next 3 years, I received 6 packages. First my boyfriend's legs, then his eyes, then his hands. I received them even after I told Damien and had finally fallen in love with him. On my 20-1st birthday, the final package arrived. It was the head, and I smiled. A genuine, heartfelt smile. I walked out of that institution and married Damien on Blackwood. We had each other's names tatted over our hearts. For the next 8 years, I mandated that our company's 30,000 strong workforce be exclusively male. We own no female pets. Not so much as a goldfish. Damien was delighted, until a young woman showed up at our door, claiming to be his long-lost sister. You're just the placeholder, she sneered, her eyes raking over me. How long are you going to cling to my brother now that I'm back? A moment later my phone buzzed. A text from Damien. 3 words. Don't touch her. I laughed. I slid a knife into the girl's chest and texted him back. You seem to forget, darling. I'm your only sister. And your only love. Outside the operating room, Damien slammed me against the wall, his eyes a raw, bloody red. She was no threat to you. Why did you have to hurt her? I hadn't seen that particular brand of fury on his face in years. Not since my kidnapping 3 years ago. I let a slow smile curve my lips. Darling, I purred, have you forgotten what you said when we got married? He had held my hand that day like it was the most fragile thing in the universe, his voice a low, obsessive murmur. Sister or lover, you are the only one I will ever have. Now that same hand was crushing my wrist, his rage directed at me, all for another girl. Another sister. A flicker of guilt crossed his face before being consumed by fresh anger. I just want to know when you became so vicious. You taught me, I said, my smile widening to show my teeth. 8 years ago. In that white sterile room. They served me my boyfriend's head on a dinner tray. The sockets were empty, but I felt his gaze on me all the same. That was the day my heart finally hardened into something useful. What's wrong, Damien? Are you not pleased with your creation? He shoved me away, his voice dropping to absolute zero. You better pray she makes it. A surgeon emerged, wiping sweat from his brow. It's a miracle. The patient's heart is on the right side of her chest. The blade missed it completely. Damien's breath hitched in a sigh of relief. Then a strange, small smile touched his lips. Just like mine, he whispered. I froze for a second, then I smiled too. His real sister, the true heiress, of course. Even God played favorites. They wheeled her out on a gurney, pale and weak. When she saw me, she flinched violently, her voice filled with venom. Damien, she tried to kill me. Call the police. She belongs in a cage. Damien said nothing, just took her hand, his expression etched with concern. A cage? Been there, done that. 3 years, I said, stepping closer with a light laugh. And that word, brother, is reserved for me. In one fluid motion, I pulled the decorative pen from my hair and lunged. But Damien was watching me. He was always watching me. He moved faster, his arm a blur as he knocked me to the ground. The next thing I knew, the cold muzzle of a gun was pressed against my forehead. I gave you one chance, he seethed, his face a mask of fury. Don't test me again. I was still processing the shock when the world went black. I woke up in our mansion. A prisoner. But no one dared lay a hand on me. Damien was a monster, but he was my monster. He never allowed anyone else to touch me. It worked to my advantage. I found a shovel in the garden shed, dug a deep hole, and stood in it. I took a selfie and sent it to him. You have 10 minutes to get here, or I'll have them bury me alive. I watched the second hand on my watch. 9.5 minutes. A supercar smashed through the estate gates. Damien leapt from the driver's seat, his forehead bleeding, and sprinted onto the lawn. His staff was frozen in terror, but the hole was empty. In its place was a freshly covered mound of earth. Damien's body went rigid. Where is she? He roared.